All right. On a suicide joke, I'm going to bring up your first comedian. He is way too good looking to be doing comedy. I didn't mean to flirt with you right off the top. That's where this went. I don't always plan it out. Give a big round of applause for Michel, everyone.
I'm also married, so hands off, Ryan. Give it up for Ryan, everybody. Give it up for Ryan. Give it up for your bartender. Doing a great job. Tipping around, giving them drinks. That's great. Give it up for yourselves. Coming out on a Thursday night for comedy. Give it up for me. Yeah, doing comedy on Thursday. Actually, give it up for me because I have been making incredible progress on my New Year's resolution. My resolution was to read 40 different books this year. And I'm really happy to say I'm halfway there. Today I finished my 20th book. Thank you. It was a pretty good book. You may have heard of it. It was called Happy Thanksgiving, Curious George. It was a pretty good book. So it's a long one for me, one of the longest ones I've read. It took me about a couple weekends to get through it. I actually read it on the beach because I know how much women love a well-educated man. And it totally worked. I saw a couple of women checking out me and my Curious George book. In case you haven't read it, Curious George, he has to prepare a Thanksgiving dinner for 10 of his closest friends. And the whole time you're reading the book, you're not sure if he's going to be able to do it, because he's a fucking monkey, And how does Curious George get 10 friends, That right there is the most unrealistic part of that book, a monkey having 10 friends. I've lived in Wilmington for 8 years, and I have 2 friends. And none of them would come to a Thanksgiving party I was having at all. So yeah, actually not that much into reading. My son, he's really into reading, so I'm not really sure what happened there. I think reading must skip a generation, loving to read. But yeah, he's 4 years old. He likes to read. It's funny because sometimes I'll be reading him a book, and I'll maybe skip a word or something like that, and he'll call me out on it because he's following along. And I'm pretty sure the appropriate reaction as a father is to feel proud, because he's learning how to read. But I couldn't help but feel a little bit upset. Because when we had a son, I always knew that there would come a day when he would become better at reading than something. I just didn't think it would happen when he was 4 years old, And at reading a book, It's supposed to be beating me in basketball, not reading a book, okay? But yeah, he really likes to read. He likes those Berenstain Bears books. You guys remember those? Yeah. We like them too because they help him out with certain situations. He was afraid to go to the doctor, so we got him the Berenstain Bears Go to the Doctor, and it helped. Although he was a little bit disappointed that his doctor wasn't actually a grizzly bear, But the problem is that they stopped publishing those books a couple years ago. And there's a lot of modern problems that they don't have books for, Over the last 2 years, there's a couple of Berenstain Bears books that we really could have used, the Berenstain Bears read Grandma Bear's racist Facebook post, That would have been really helpful to have. Or the Berenstain Bears and Papa Bear won't wear no mask. Or one that we could have used last year, the Berenstain Bears storm the Capitol. So a little bit about me. I'm a Gemini. I'm not really into astrology though. I don't know what it means to be a Gemini. But I really hope it means that I'm not supposed to get laid a lot. Because it would be great if the reason I haven't gotten laid a lot is because of a supernatural power and not who I am as a person. Are there any Gemini here? By chance? There's no Gemini here? Well, I really hope they're not getting laid. I'm supposed to get laid. But it's true, I didn't really get laid a lot. Are you guys familiar with that phrase, to sow your oats? Yeah. You know, you're supposed to like sleep around a bit before you settle down and get married. Well, let's just say I didn't do a good job of sowing my oats. Okay? I think I've sowed like 4 different oats in my life. Well, 3.5 if we're being technical. Okay, 3.5 oats. And it's not like I don't like oats, you know. I love oatmeal. It's just that all the oats I met, they didn't want me to sow them. They just wanted me to be their friend. And then tell me about all the other farmers that they wanted to get sowed by, you know. But it actually doesn't really matter now because I'm married. And now I just get to sow one oat over and over and over again. And let me tell you, that oat is starting to get worn out. I don't know how much more sowing she's got in there. I actually might have to go back to sowing my own oats, if you know what I mean. So I'll just put this out here. I drive a Honda Civic. Okay. Thank you. It's a 2002 Honda Civic, old car. 2002. That car is so old that next year it can legally buy alcohol. I guess the good news is that I can now start filling it up with that gasoline that has ethanol in it, you know? So that's good. But I got that car so long ago that I honestly forget which I got first, my car or my Blockbuster membership card. You know, it's been that long. I'm so like nervous and paranoid that that car is going to strand me in the middle of nowhere. So I always make sure before I leave my house that I have my 4 essentials. You know, my keys, my phone, my wallet, and my can of Campbell's Chunky Soup. You know, I don't travel anywhere without my soup. Gotta have my soup. I love that car, but man, it is so rusted and run down that whenever I take my son's car seat out of it, the value of the car drops in half. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie, my life is really boring, guys. It's extremely boring. You guys probably get that. But you know, it really shouldn't be that surprising when you look at me. You know, 'cause I'm white. I'm like middle class. I have an office job. I'm married. I drive the Honda Civic. I think the only way my life would be more boring is if my favorite sport was golf. But it's not golf, it's baseball. So it's a little bit more exciting right there. My life is so boring that honestly, the most exciting thing I did this week was that I ate some asparagus. That's it. That's the excitement level in my life, is that my pee smells differently for a couple days. That's what I got going for me. It's kind of a weird side effect of asparagus, you know, to make your pee smell differently. Apparently Brussels sprouts also make your pee smell differently. I say apparently because, you know, I've never had a Brussels sprout before. But I trust the science because it, you know, it makes sense when you think about it, because together, asparagus and Brussels sprouts, they're kind of like the cock and balls of all the leafy green vegetables, you know? Like, I've never seen it, but I'm pretty sure that's what the genitalia of the jolly green giant looks like, you know? Like, all you gotta do is lift up that leafy green tunic he has, and you're staring straight at a couple of Brussels sprouts and a big old green stalk of asparagus, you know? Unless, of course, he's recently been jerking off. In that case, it would be that purple heirloom variety of asparagus, you know? Alright, guys, I'll leave on that. Thank you very much, everybody.
All right, keep it up for Matt, everybody. Very funny stuff. Except my mom is a Gemini, so I got lost in the, my mom maybe had a lot of sex before my dad, or not have a lot of sex, I don't know. I did get lost on the sowing the oats analogy by the end of that. Don't know.